All right, so slippery slope when you start talking about doing away with money makes me kind of think like, geez, communism. Are you sounding like a communist? F that. Communism has not worked, and nobody's doing it right. That's like the right to come back.
Right.
Nobody's done it right.
Well, you can't do it right. Communism's never worked.
Because they want the top wants to have the money.
Yeah.
They want the control, just like all these other people. It's just they want total control. Love that song. So let me pull up. But actually, I did this test my son sent me.
What is it?
I can put it out there if you guys are on band. Maybe we'll.
What's the website?
Stick it with it. You want me to text it to you?
No, just.
It is pewresearch.org.
Okay.
Politics, quiz, political, / da-da-da. So this is supposed to give you your political leanings. And it had, I came out, they were all like, John's going to be so far right. And I forget what the super far right one was.
Yeah.
And I'd have to go through the test again to get to the end.
I was guessing you were more to the middle than people realized.
I was right on the middle.
Yeah.
And they were all, I'm like, well, let me go back. And like 2 days later, I took it again.
Yeah.
Just to go, let me see if I change it. Because I was kind of on the fence.
Yeah.
Let me just change an answer or two. And then I came out a little bit more to the right. But I changed, but some of it, it's like, man, I didn't change it. That one didn't change that much. That one didn't change it that much. I'm like, oh, let me answer. So it was interesting. I can put it out there. I mean, I'm sure some people have seen it.
Weighted scores and all that. Yeah.
I changed a couple of things, and I'm like, here and there, I was on the fence this one, but it only kicked me over like one, maybe two. But some of it was like, America should be the only superpower. I'm like,
okay.
Should it be global? Should we have global power? And I'm like,
I really don't.
Some of these things, like a global, is the world too big? I mean, there's so many different, it's just so hard.
I know.
So hard. I don't, you start to lean that way and you're like, and then they totally have control.
Yeah, I like cash because it lets me do things that the government can't watch. And I'm not trying to hide things. I just don't think the government should be allowed to watch all the things I do. Right? What I do is none of their business. And I know we've got the Patriot Act and there's people out there and there's bad actors, but at what point do you weigh freedom versus safety? Right?
Yeah.
And safety always leads to some sort of socialist utopia is what everybody thinks. And socialism devolves into communism. It's 100% effective in devolving that way. It's always done it.
Yeah.
And I don't want to see cash go away. And that's really why I don't want to see like a digital bank currency, right? A digital dollar. It just... Because what happens one day, and if you don't meet their standards, they take dollars away, right? And we spent our whole lives earning dollars trying to make our businesses worth something. And if they take away the ability to sell those things for cash or money, like what was the whole point of all this work I put into it, right? It's like the state would thus own it, or it has to disappear.
Yeah.
And everybody builds business because at the end you either want to sell it or retire happy, right? I mean, that's the only way to build wealth.
We want to, I'm like, I want to help the homeless, but only to a certain point of like, you have to help yourself.
Yeah.
And if you just want to be a druggie and not productive, I'm done. I'm done with you. I'm sorry. Mental illness, there's a big part of that. I want to help you. We did away
with institutions.
And there's bad in everything. We just have to, again, money corrupts everything.
I mean,
but you got to be doing something. But this whole communist thing, if you haven't listened to former KGB agent Yuri, Y-U-R-I, Bezmenov, B-E-Z-M-E-N-O-V.
Yeah.
Listen to the interviews that come up on there. I think the one I have saved here is... from 3 years ago, 1.1 million views. I mean, it really needs like 100 million views. That the communist plan to infiltrate America.
Yeah.
Listen to that. Listen to him, and there's no social media when he's making this. And then you add in social media and how scary these things are. It's slow and steady.
Yeah.
Again, I'm like, freedom of speech. I am so, like, it's the coddling of the American mind. You know, you're hurting my feelings and all these other things. You're taking my ability to say things and my point of view is hateful, and everything's hateful now because you disagree with me. It's crazy.
It is, yeah.
They're just trying to take away power, slow and steady. We need to take control.
And oftentimes...
And how to do that, and again, I'll just say, the person that gets taken control of, nobody, like, you know, Joe Rogan doesn't, he's fine. He's got tons of money. So, you know, at the end of the day, does he really, really care? Because he's got so much money that does he want to change it? Nobody wants to step into that driver's seat, because if you really step into that driver's seat, you've got a target on your back bigger than JFK and anybody else that's ever been assassinated or stuck in, you know, a Russian gulag for speaking out, you know, all of these other things. You're a target.
Or they try to bribe you out. Did you hear about Kerry Lake?
No,
in New Mexico?
I don't even know who Kerry Lake
Kerry Lake was running for a Senate seat for the GOP, Arizona, and the head of the GOP in Arizona yesterday resigned because he was caught on audio, and I think maybe video, of trying to bribe her to get out of the race from people from back east, a group that he's never named, right? And he kept saying, what's the amount? She starts with, what's the amount going to take? And Kerry says, it's not about money, it's about saving the country. So first off, she's a politician I want, right? Because somebody just offered her millions, most likely a talking head position on a show somewhere, right? Is what they do. And they make you wait a few years. All they're asking is to wait a few years, right? Wait a few years so they can get this puppet in that they want to run, right? Not actual people. So how often is that happening? How many have been bribed, right? How many are working for themselves and not for the American people?
It's like the FDA. Oh, now you have a job with the FDA after you approved, or no, sorry. Now you have a job with my company after you approve my freaking drug, and now, come to work with me for a year later.
Yeah.
After, I mean, money just corrupts, and it, you know, I don't know what the number is to corrupt me. I mean,
right. And it's easy to say I would never do it, but I've never had anybody say, I'll pay you $2 million not to run for office. That's it. You're just not running for office.
Yeah. And you go,
and you never had that much
never
money.
Mind 10 million, 100 million, not to do this or to do that, or you know, set up your every generation after you will be set for life. It's ridiculous, but it's for the good of just mankind.
Yeah, I agree.
Not destroy the planet, everything else. Like, have human beings live like, quote, as much of a perfect life as we can.
Yeah.
And be happy. And be able to do the things that we want, and these politicians are just poisoning us with approving chemical, you name it. The stuff that gets approved in this country is crazy. You're like, it's not the diet, it's big companies not really caring.
Yeah.
You know, fluoride in the toothpaste, you name it.
Which is poison, it's pretty wild.
It's crazy that these things are allowed to happen, but it all comes back to money. And we need to get these politicians the hell out. Either fix it and get out. Because the longer you're in something, the more apt you're going to be corrupt. So go back and get an effing job like the rest of us have to do.
Yeah.
Essentially, unless you're like a freeloader, and that's going to just piss me off.
Well, that's what people in government do, right? They don't really, most of them never own a business, right?
Yeah. Get a freaking job. Start a, you know, get in, get out. It's this whole, like, I'm so pissed off about them buying these hotels in Denver for the homeless.
Trying to connect,
They're buying, like, we're going to convert these. Okay, good, we need institutions back. That's essentially what they're saying. But it's still not a good plan. They don't really have a good plan.
No.
Listen to Michael Schellenberger. He's got a way better plan. But they're buying these things, and now you're going to get this room? Can I get a room?
Yeah.
I'm a taxpayer. Can I Airbnb that room? Why do you get, because you checked out of society and you don't have a mental illness. Why?
Yeah.
Show me something. They can just keep doing drugs and living off, like San Francisco, how much money they give freaking the homeless. They
Well,
can bankrupt themselves.
usually when they give folks these places to live, their lives generally don't improve. It just gives them a shelter to continue the behavior they're already conducting, right? So they turn into kind of these drug slums.
Fix your behavior.
It doesn't do anything to fix the behavior. All it does is fix the problem of people seeing it on the street. Because the problem goes away if you can't see it, right? They're just hiding the problem. That's all it is. They're just moving the problem to a place where you can't see it.
We're always going to have some people that are mentally ill, and we need to help them humanely. You know, there's always those old institutions, what was happening to them and people being cruel. Can we fix the people that are working there?
Yeah.
And maybe we need to rotate you out because you're just burnt out and you're frustrated. We need to go do something else for 2 years and roll people back around. But we need to treat, especially the mentally ill, the handicapped, treat them humanely. But if you're just doing drugs, everything else, if you're not trying to help yourself, you don't get the free housing. Or you're in a big group place that, essentially you're safer, but earn, like Michael Sheldon, earn the apartment, quote unquote, in this, in this hotel or whatever we convert it. Earn it. And if you go off the rails, you're back into general, quote, population, I guess I'll call it. It's not prison, but it might feel like it if you, we're in with a whole bunch of people and everybody kind of likes their own privacy at different points, but at least it's safer than being out on the street and things happening to people being raped because they're homeless or out on the streets. At least it could be monitored by people that were overseeing it. And there's no drugs happening in this thing because open air, these homeless encampments are just drug encampments.
For the most part, yeah. Or the crime. There's certainly a crime element that ends up showing up there in it.
But there's things that we can do. It's just crazy. But I listen. I give that Yuri Bezmenov. I'll listen. It's scary, America. People need to wake up because communism is not the answer. It is not. I mean, can you take aspects? It's like listen to both sides. Let's come together in the middle. What's best for everybody? You're like, you're making a face over there.
Yeah, I hit the screen. I hit the monitor and I was like, oh
you're
crap.
making a face about
No. I was just thinking, if you've ever talked to anybody that's lived in the Soviet Union, it was horrible, the stuff they would talk about. They would wait in line for hours to get 2 rolls of toilet paper because that's all you had. You'd walk in the store and you would have one choice. And it wasn't really a store. It was like the Communist Party storage house, right? And then most of the time, the only thing they really had to offer you was alcohol because there always seemed to be vodka, but there never seemed to be fish or food or bread or toilet paper.
Kind of sounds like COVID. Keep the liquor stores open.
And people at one point in the Soviet Union were being paid with vodka. Teachers were being paid with vodka because there was nothing else to pay them with, right? And it just blows my mind. You've got a bunch of, imagine your population who have substance abuse problems and that's all they get to consume, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the choices weren't there. Or if you said something bad about the party, friends and family members would turn you in. If they didn't like you, they would really turn you and you would disappear, right? That's what communism does. I mean, if you go to China right now, how many people have disappeared, right? Who don't fall in line? And they'll never admit it. It's got to be an astronomical number, right? Especially the Uyghurs that were over there and how they've been disappearing. That's why they'll never let me in the country.
Yeah, it's crazy because it's just big power. It's just corruption, and nobody wants to go against that. But it seems to me that we're not on a good track.
Yeah.
Overall, we're things go up and down, politics, but just as we should be further along than we are.
Well,
we should be the Jetsons by now. We should have some better cars.
I was really, when I watched Back to the Future Part 2, I wanted the floating skateboard. Where is that?
Yeah.
We never got that. We got a bunch of electric cars that get bricked when it gets cold. I do love the cell phone, don't get me wrong. I got that one right.
Kinda.
Yeah. But look at all the... Every time you create something, you create a new problem, though. Right?
Yeah, there's always problems. You gotta work through them.
Yeah.
You know, like manage, learn how to manage social media. But it is hard because it's like you're fighting an algorithm.
Yeah.
Some of these things are like, it's just too much technology. Can we get people off? Because they're just getting sucked down or just sucked into a video game.
Yeah.
It's like that one I sent you, the kid freaking out
Oh my
on
gosh.
his dad. That was awesome. That was a total meltdown.
Yeah, he did the
And
same.
the kid was like, he seemed like he was 4.
Yeah, and it looked like he was
Total
20
meltdown.
plus.
Yeah, I'm saying, he was a young man. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, at 16, bro, you're starting to feel your manhood a little bit more, in those ages. And he freaked out. It was awesome. And the dad, so, to be able to do that,
The kid yelled, or the man yells, I built a life on there.
yes. That was,
I built a
the
life on
kid.
there.
We'll just call him the kid.
kid. Yeah,
Different.
it's a
I was like,
different
what did the dad say? It was
No, the dad's like, I'll throw this away. It's just rotting
I
you.
built a life.
I built a life on this. Like all of his interaction with people was through a digital medium.
Yeah, it's scary.
He never left the house.
Like,
And the kid looked pale. He never looked like he had done anything in his life. He's
the
a
heaviest thing
gamer.
he's lifted is the controller.
Control, yeah.
Like, dude, lift some weights, man. I'm sorry. Like,
Dad
get out
chucks.
there and chop some wood, carry some water.
And it was like watching a 4-year-old have a meltdown over not getting something right, or give me
Yeah.
that right now. And I was like,
He freaked out. He jumped into the swimming pool.
yeah. Once his dad threw the
After
Xbox
gaming
console.
freaking thing.
Yeah.
It was freaking awesome.
They had a meltdown at Thanksgiving too, which is an epic one if you can find them. Like they've recorded.
same guy?
Oh, it's the same.
Just
set.
battling this kid.
Oh,
This kid needs to be like,
the kid gets mad at him because the dad says he's playing too many video games, so he takes the Thanksgiving table that everybody's sitting at and he flips it.
the kid.
He did, dude. It's a meltdown.
Like, yeah, this kid needs to be in
Like if he was to
in
ever.
detox. He needs to go to detox for gaming.
Well, here's the thing. Like if
Hold
you ever
on.
could
That.
detox for gaming.
Yes.
Is that our new
Josh, somebody's
tagline?
No. Let's just close down the gym. We can do detox from gaming.
What about
We'll
just-
make a shit ton.
What about esports? And we'll go the opposite direction, and we'll train people to do esports downstairs. All you see is thumbs moving frantically.
Detox. Detox.
Okay, what if we do video game detox, but we teach men how to be men too?
Yeah, well, that would have to be part of it.
Okay, well,
Detox.
right? How to
We're
be a
gonna detox
man.
you.
Yeah.
Off this stupid game, we're going
Right.
to teach you to lift some weights.
Come over here. Let me see you. Boom, you're a man now.
Teach you how to defend a punch.
Yeah.
Do some real stuff instead of
Right.
Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. Learn how to
you're
pitch
a real
woo.
Badass on
Right.
a gaming system. Like, dude, get out there and do it for real. Do some Citizen Defender. Do some cert pistol training with an actual guy coming at you with a training knife.
Right.
Do some things like that. But
And we wonder why you have
these
so many.
kids,
They can't
I
even
hate
like.
that. I sound like such an old guy. These kids, but we set them up that way. But it's learning to navigate new technologies, and there's going to be a learning curve.
There's nothing
for
hard
all of
for them.
us.
Like there's nothing really difficult anymore. Computers handle the math. They're trying to print all of our homes. Everything's built for us. You go to the store to find whatever you need. The age of making the stuff yourself and trying to make stuff better for you has gone, right? Because actually you can either find it online or at the store. But when we were young, if we wanted something, we had to either make it or figure out something that worked like it and change it, right? There was a lot of obstacles. If you wanted to go research, you couldn't just jump on the internet. You had to go to the library, right? You had to physically go places. You had to go through the hard work. If you wanted to meet people, you had to go to bars or places where people congregate, and you had to go through the steps of being shot down, right?
Yeah.
That's not even happening anymore. They just go to an app, they say a few texts back and forth, and then before you know it, you've got people that are just in these relationships that are kind of empty, right?
Yeah.
And the
It's
options,
crazy.
it's just, there's so many options in the mating world, right? I mean, trying to find a mate.
Well, then there's the filters and all this other crap.
Or you're presenting yourself as something completely opposite of what you are, right? Because there were people that will pretend they're women or men online and be the opposite sex, and the other person doesn't find out until it's, quote, too late, right? And then they wonder why people don't accept them for what they are. It's because it runs counter to what generations have learned, what biology says to some degree. And I'll probably get beat up for that one, but that's my feelings.
There's some research from Dr. Deborah Soh, I think is how you pronounce her last name.
Yeah.
S-O-H. She's a sex neuroscientist. She's very interesting. And again, I'm pushing people away from my own podcast. But I'm just a guy. She's super smart. She's on Joe Rogan.
I like her.
I mean, you get like a 50-50 shot with whatever I'm talking about that is either Sean Ryan or Joe Rogan.
Yeah, I kind of figured that.
And then you're like, or Huberman, if it sounds really...
Huberman's kind of an interesting cat.
He's very interesting. I mean, there's just so much out there, right? You know, Bill, like, I'm just another voice. You know, just talking to Coach Bill here, awesome guy. I love his perspectives. But I feel the same way. Mm-hmm. And it's also like a lot very common when you get your black belt that you feel like an imposter. Like, oh, I'm not ready for it. Like, you get up there and you've been training for it, but you're like, now you're a black belt, Josh. And you're like, oh, wait, hold on a second. I don't feel
like a black belt.
Like, oh, geez, I don't know. And it's super common. Like, sometimes I go, I'm like, I can't believe I'm teaching self-defense. Like, here I am, you know, you're like, geez, should I be here? And,
right. Oh, yeah.
You know, it's a very common feeling that people have, and it makes me train harder and do things, but you're just another voice. But I feel, you know, I'm probably going nowhere, let's be honest, with this podcast until I get totally sick of it or you quit and leave me. I have to die before you use your black box over there. I don't know how.
I'll leave the kit to you if I die. I told like my.
I could do it off my computer. I'm just making you feel good.
Is that what it is? Cause
yeah, and I like talking to you.
You do?
No.
You do?
Till I can find somebody to replace you.
Yeah, or somebody better. Yeah, I get
an AI bot. I'm just going to get an AI bot, and I'll just have this interactions with this AI
Well, speaking of that, what happens when people get the AI girlfriend that's got the fake body?
Deborah Soh.
Dude,
listen to Deborah Soh.
What happens when they start having relationships with artificial intelligence? Like there was that movie Her, where he fell in love with an AI on his phone, right? I mean, that stuff is going to happen.
Yeah. I think there's a super old movie. I was waiting for her to bring it up, and I think it's like called. I don't even know. All I can think, I'm like, it was some 80s movie that he had a robot girlfriend.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Was it Cherry or
something like that?
Something. And you're like, we're getting really freaking close to that.
It was almost prophetic because it was described
in the 80s. So
yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know, super long ago.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll look it up after the podcast.
I miss Short Circuit. Johnny Five is alive.
Oh, yeah, Johnny Five.
I love Short Circuit. I don't know why I haven't brought that back.
My football friends used to call me Johnny Five.
Johnny Five is alive.
Well, I had my football jersey started with 5, so
yeah.
Johnny Five.
Yeah, I said that to my wife one day. I was like, "You've seen Short Circuit?" And she's like, "What is that?" And I was like, "Johnny Five is alive." She's like, "Oh my God, what have I done?
How did you even hook up?
How did she survive?"
How did you even hook up with this girl? She's like nothing like you.
Well, that's why I'm with her, because she's nothing like me. She's awesome. She's awesome. Beautiful and talented and smart.
I'm a total nerd. I don't even know how I ended up.
I'll quote a movie and she'll just look at me like,
"What kind of nerd ass crap are you talking about?"
Yeah, I've heard that. Like, Josh, quit nerding out. Or she'll sit there and I'll start explaining something and she starts going,
yeah. I mean, it's obvious. I mean, she's attracted to your intelligence.
It's got to be, because it's nothing.
It's like
else.
When you see those hot girls with these, like a guy like you, you're like, why is Tara with this guy?
It's not for my money.
Yeah.
It's got to be the good looks.
She's attracted to
the... everything else.
Yeah, she's not attracted to that, Josh. How did you end up with a hot girl?
Yeah, I'd ask you the same thing.
I would beg to differ.
No!
I'm just kidding.
She's the nice one in the relationship, but she's also HR, so I can't call her hot. So I won't.
I'm the nice one.
I'm the nice one.
I'm the
she
nice
can never
one.
listen to this
now.
now.
Like that, the high school girls were calling me. They told me I was evil the other day. We were doing assess, so they were doing just some basic self-defense. I'm like, don't forget to assess. The lights were off. We were doing low level.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, you were with me.
Came in and started yelling.
Yeah, training you to train the kids a little bit. and I was behind them with an axe or a machete, and they're like, "You're like an axe murderer. It's like the 13th floor in Denver in Halloween." I'm like, "Just look behind you.
Yeah.
Assess.
Is there danger?
Around. Move." But we should wrap it up here. If you've made it this far, I greatly appreciate it. You can support the podcast by going to shop.clearsky.training. If you're here in Castle Rock, we've got classes for martial arts for kids from age 3 on up, and our adult program is our adult program, and we've got our women's program, we've got our fitness program. You know, got to be in good shape, and if you've got a concealed carry and you're not comfortable carrying that weapon, I just signed up a guy yesterday, I don't feel comfortable. That's this class. Check out, you signed up for Krav Maga, you should check out Citizen Defender. We're going to build your confidence. That's our gym. We're all about helping people get just a little bit better every day, suck less, train more, guys, and fight communism, free speech. We need these things, guys. We've got to do something. I think the answer is end career politicians.